Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. So I'm going to go straight to the next one, which is a one solution. So that means quadratic simultaneous equation that has only one solution, okay? And how do we solve something like that? In the previous video, I solved the question on quadratic simultaneous equation that has no solution. So now we're going to look at an example of question that has only one solution. As I always tell you, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know, all right? Okay, so I'm going to go straight into it. So it's going to be basically the same thing. So in this kind of quadratic simultaneous equation, this equation will only have one solution because they do intersect at one point. Or better put, the line is tangent to the curve. So like I told you earlier, you need to watch the previous video because I've talked about this concept earlier. So, and you can also find this by either drawing the graph or finding the discriminant. All right. So we've talked about this, and it follows the 5 rules or the 5 steps of solving by elimination by substitution method. Remember, I said that there are different methods, but in this video series, I'm going to focus only on the elimination by substitution method. All right. So I'm going to rewrite the 5 steps for the elimination by substitution method here. So just for ease and also a form of reminder for you. Then in the next board, I'm going to just start solving the questions. All right. So we're going to have the 5 steps that I said on how to solve. Now, but in this case, it's going to be different. No, when there was no solution, we only solved step 1 to step 3. All right, because there was no solution, we could not go to step 4 and 5. But in this case now, because there's one solution, we can go to step 4 and step 5. All right. So as usual, number 1, you have to select any of the equation and make one variable. The subject of the formula. Okay. Number 2, after that, you then have to substitute the answer from step 1 okay, for the second variable. Into the second equation. Okay. So you do that for the second variable into the second what? Equation. All right. Number 3, when you're done, you have to find the value, okay? You have to find the value of the variable from step 2. Okay. So the first thing, you have to first check the discriminant. It will be b squared minus 4ac, okay? And of the resultant quadratic equation. So it's very important to do this step, all right? Of the resultant quadratic what? Equation. Okay? In some cases you will get, in some cases you won't, but in this case, you will have to have a quadratic equation. Then the answer, you have to now check if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. It means there is what? No solutions. So we solved this kind of question in the previous video, and we saw that the line, okay, the line do not intersect. Okay? Then what we're going to solve in this video now, you will see that the b squared minus 4ac is going to be equal to 0. So that means there will be one solution, all right? Will be one solution, and you will see that the line will be what? The line will intersect, or the lines will intersect, but they only intersect at one point. Okay? At one point. Some textbook will say the line is tangent, okay? Or you hear tangent, or the lines are tangent. So when they are tangent, it's the same thing. So the line is tangent to the curve, means that it touches at one point as well. Then after you're done with that, we'll go to step 4. Now in step 4, what you have to do is that you have to substitute the answers. Okay? So you substitute the answers. All right, the answers from step 3, okay, into any of the original question. Okay, so you have to substitute the answer into any of the original question, or let me put, instead of saying question, let me write equation, so it will be clearer, if that would be better. So let me just say equation. So it's any of the original equation to find the second variable. And when you're done, like I always tell you, step 5 depends on the question. Is that okay? But usually, you don't. If you're not asked to, you don't need to do it. So you have to then check. Okay, you need to check your answer. By either number 1, substituting both values, okay, into either of the original equation. Or better still, you can just sketch the graph, okay? You can either draw or sketch the graph to see if it's true. So like I said, you can either plot the graph to be exact, or you can sketch the graph to have a rough idea, all right? So that is that for that. Okay, so we're gonna solve a question using this. So I've talked about this earlier. So we're gonna solve a question using this concept so that we'll be sure that you understood it, all right? So it's very important that you know these rules, the 5 steps. So we're gonna solve a question now. All right, so let's pick an example here. So an example, all right? So like I said, usually you can pause the video, solve the example, and play it back to see if you get the same answer, all right? So let's solve the equation. The equation we have, okay? You have y is equal to x squared plus 3, and y is equal to minus 4x minus 1, all right? So y is equal to 4x, y equals to x squared plus 3, and we have y is equal to minus 4x minus 1. So what do? Step 1. All right, so I'm going to just move. So we have y. The question said, select one of the equation and make one variable the subject of the formula. All right, so we're going to select one. So y is the subject of the formula, so it's easy. We just put it there. Step 2. Okay, we're now told that substitute the answer from step 1 for the second variable into the second equation. So the second variable we have there is y is equal to x squared plus 3. The y is now minus 4x minus 1 is equal to x squared plus 3. Now, you take this to the other side. So you're going to have x squared minus become what? Plus 4x minus 1 becomes plus 1 plus 3. Are you seeing it? Then you're going to have x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now, if you see, I said that you need to first check the discriminant, okay, of the resultant quadratic equation, all right? So, okay, and also I forgot to add one more here. So when b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, it means that there are what? Two solutions. And for two solutions, it means that the lines intersect at 2 points, okay? But for this video, we're just focusing on b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. So what you have to do now is to check, okay, the resultant. So the resultant quadratic equation we have here is this. So let's check. Okay, we know that our A is equal to 1, our B is equal to 4, and our C is equal to 4. So the B squared minus 4AC is going to give us, we have 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4. And when you press this, 4 squared will give you 16 minus 4 times 1 times 4 will give you 16. And you see it is 0. So the b squared minus 4ac is what? 0. Okay? So because it's 0, you will see now that means we are expecting to have just one solution, which means that the lines will intersect at what? 1 point. All right, so let's move on now. So now, because we now know, we can now proceed to the others to continue with the steps. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 4. All right? Now we're going to solve this. So you can either use the formula method, factorization method, or complete the square method. But I'm going to use the factorization method, and now specifically, I'm going to focus on the trinomials when a is equal to 1. So I'll look for two numbers that I'm going to multiply. That will give me 4. I'm going to add it to give me 4. And that will be what? 2 and 2, right? So it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 2. So that means, therefore, and this is equal to 0. So that means x plus 2 is equal to 0. And x plus 2 is equal to 0. So that means we're going to have x is equal to what? Minus 2. We're going to have it what? Twice. Are you seeing it? So that means you can see we're having just what? One solution as we predicted. Okay? Then we'll have to go to step 4 now. Step 4 said that we need to substitute the answer from step 3 into any of the original equations to find the second variable. So let's do that. So to get step 3, okay, to get the second variable, so we have, I'm going to use y is equal to minus 4x minus 1, which will give me minus 4 into bracket minus 2 minus 1. And therefore the y, when you put this to give you minus 4 minus 2 will give you 8. 8 minus 1 is going to give you what? 7. So that means you see the point of intersection definitely for this now is going to be x will be minus 2 and y will be what? 7. So this is the point of intersection. So as I always tell you, the step 5 now depends, okay? So this is step 4, sorry. So step 5 now depends. So what you need to do is then you then have to what? Sketch the graph. Okay, step 5, you then have to sketch. So you see, like I told you, the step 5, you don't really need to do it unless the question requests that. So let us sketch this graph. So we have two graphs. So we have the y is equal to minus 4x minus 1. So minus 4x minus 1. So remember, for a line graph, we need to find the y-intercept. We need to find the x-intercept. Is that okay? So when you do that, so this will have for the line. Okay, so for the line, we need to find the y-intercept. So when you find it at y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So when you put 0 into this, all this becomes 0 and become minus 1. So please, you need to go back and check. Is that okay? You need to check. We've talked about sketching of a linear graph and a quadratic graph. So please go back and look at the video as well. So for the x-intercept, y is equal to 0. So y will be equal to 0. So when you have x-intercept y equals to 0, so it's going to be 0 is equal to minus 4x minus 1. Take this to the other side. So 4x equals to minus 1. Divide both sides by 4. Are you seeing it? So therefore, the x is going to be what? Minus 1 over 4. So the x-intercept is going to be minus 1 over 4. Okay, so that is that for that. So we can clean this now. That's the line for the line equation there. So we can sketch that if we want to. So you will see when you draw the line, is 4x minus 1. Okay, this is step 5. Okay, so if you want to sketch the graph, you have something like this, something like this. So the y-intercept is -1. So let's say we have -1 here. And we have the x-intercept is -1/4. So let's say we have -1/4 here. So if you want to find that, so these are the 2 points, okay? So we can now draw a line that is going to go through all these 2 points like this. So this is the y is equal to -4x minus 1. Now let's do for the curve now. So for the curve, I told you we need to then check the shape of the graph, the vertex, and the rest of it. Now, because the curve we have was, let me see again, what was the curve? The curve was y is equal to x squared plus 3. So y is equal to x squared plus 3. Y is equal to x squared plus 3. So the a is greater than 0. So that means the shape is going to look like that. The size definitely, the size is 1. So it's going to be wider. So the absolute value of a, which is equal to 1. So that means the graph is going to be wide. The x-intercept or the root, okay? The x-intercept or the roots. When you solve that, it's going to give you, because we're having x squared, so you equate that to be equal to 0. So you can't get the roots for that because, okay, let me just solve it to make it easy, okay? So we have the roots here. So at the roots or the x-intercept, y is equal to what? 0. So it's going to give us x squared plus 3 is equal to 0. Are you seeing it? So you take 3 to the other side. So you're going to have x squared is equal to -3. And definitely x is going to be equal to the square root of both sides. So that means x is going to be the square root of -3. So you can see this, there is no real roots. Can you see? There's no real roots. So that means it's not going to cross the x-axis. Are you seeing it? So because it's not going to cross the x-axis, so it's going to be above the x-axis. All right? Then let us check the y-intercept. The y-intercept, x is equal to 0. So that means y-intercept is going to be equal to 3. And as well, if you check the vertex as well, the vertex is going to be equal to 3. So if you're going to draw this, you're going to see that you're going to have this -1, -1, this 2, this 3. So you're going to notice that it's going to look something like this. The curve will be something like this at this point. So you're going to see something like this. You're going to be wide at this point, coming all the way to this point. Okay? And this point here is 3. And now you can see at this point here is a point of intersection. Sorry, I'm not drawing this well. It's meant to be, yeah, like this, 3, yep. So now you can see that the point of intersection is going to be here. And you can see there's only one point of intersection. And you can see from the point of intersection, it's going to be somewhere around the x value. Can you see the x value we had was -2, then -2, somewhere here. And you also notice as well, the value for this is going to be somewhere here, positive, above 3. And based on that, it could be around 7. So because it's a sketch, like I told you, we are sketching. Unless you want to plot the values accurately, then you can for sure know what the value will be. But for sketching, you can see the point of intersection is going to be at this point, and the point of intersection is going to be here. So that means technically the answer we got here is correct. Okay? Now that is that for that. So we're going to pick one more question and on this as well. So let's pick this example here. So we have an example. The second example, we have solve the equation. We have a squared plus b squared is equal to 20. And we also have b plus 10 is equal to 2a, all right? So the first thing, we're going to step 1. We need to make one of them the subject of formula. So I'm going to pick this one. So we have b plus 10 is equal to 2a. I'll take 10 to the other side. So b is equal to 2a minus 10. So like I always say, you can pause the video, all right? Pause the video and try it first. Then when you're done trying, you can now come back and play and see if we get the same thing. Then the next thing, step 2, we have to equate both of them. So we have a squared plus b squared is equal to 20. So anywhere I see b, I'm going to put 2a minus 10. So it's going to be a squared plus 2a minus 10 all squared is equal to 20. So we have to open this bracket, okay? So we have 2a minus 10 all squared is the same thing as saying 2a minus 10 multiplied by 2a minus 10. So we have a plus b, c plus d, okay? So you ac, ad, bc, and what? bd. So you're going to be 2a times 2a to give us 4a squared. 2a minus 10 is going to give us minus 20a. Minus 10 times 2 will give us minus 20a. Minus 10 will give us minus what? 100. Then we have 4a squared minus 40a minus what? 100. So you can see we can now come back here and replace all these numbers here with a squared equals to 4a squared minus 40a minus what? 100 equals to 20. All right. You open the bracket, it'll be a squared plus, so everything remains the same because plus times this will give you this, plus times minus will still give you minus, and that will give you minus 100. But we take the 20 to the other side, it will now become minus 20 is equal to 0. So let's go. A squared plus 4a squared will give you 5a squared minus 40a. There's no other a there, so it's going to be minus 40a. Then we have minus 100. I made a mistake, so minus 10 times minus 10 should give you plus 100, okay? So that means here is plus 100, yeah, because I was checking, because when I have a minus b, it's going to be minus and plus, so that means it should be plus 100. So minus 40a plus 100, that will give us what? Plus 100 minus 20. So now we have plus 100 minus 20, that will give us what? 80. So that will be equal to 0. So like I always say, when you have big numbers like this, it's usually better for me to simplify. And if you look at it, you can find out that 5 is common between both of them, all of them, sorry. So you divide all through by 5 to simplify the number a bit. So when we do that, it will now become a squared minus 40 divided by 5 will give me 8a, and 80 divided by 5 will give you what? Plus 16. Okay? So that will give us that. Then we've gotten the resultant quadratic equation. The next thing that we need to do is to now check to see what the discriminant for this is. So let's check. Okay, like we've always done. So the a squared minus 8a plus 16. Our a is equal to 1. Our b is equal to minus 8. And our c is equal to what? 16. So let's do this. So if that is that, we know that our b squared minus 4ac, our b is going to give us minus 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 16. Okay, and that will give us, this will give 64 minus 64, and that will give us what? 0. So that means when we solve this question, we are expected to have just what? One solution. So if you go back for this, for it to be 0, we need one solution. And technically, that was the reason why I selected this example as well. So we're going to go back to solve this now. So we're going to have a squared minus a squared minus 8a plus 16. You can use the formula method, completing the square method of factorization. And we're going to use factorization. And when we're going to use factorization, I'm going to use the a equal to 1. So I'll look for two numbers, I'll multiply, that will give me 16. And I'll add, that will give me minus 8. So it's going to be minus 4 and minus 4. Minus 4 times minus 4 will give me 16. Minus 4 plus minus 4 will give me minus 8. So it's going to be a minus 4, a minus 4, and this is equal to 0. So a minus 4 is equal to 0. A minus 4 is equal to 0. Then you're going to get a is equal to 4. You get it twice. Are you seeing it? Okay. So that means you're getting one solution. Then we're done with that. Then step 5 or step 4. Okay. So this point here is step 3, where we're trying to simplify. Okay. So step 4, what do you do? So we're going to substitute A into one of the original equations to get B. So I'm going to use the B is equal to 2A minus 10. So the A is 4. So it's going to be B is equal to 2 into bracket 4 minus 10. And the B is going to give me what? Minus 2. So that means I can now say for this question, the A is 4. Okay, the A is equal to 4. And the B is equal to what? 2. So the A is equal to 4 and the B is equal to minus 2. All right. So we can now say the A is equal to 4 and the B is equal to minus 2. So that will be the point that will satisfy the simultaneous equation. So like I said, we can decide to draw the graph for this as well. And if you notice as well, if you're drawing the graph, it's a a squared, b squared graph. So that means the x squared, y squared is going to be a circular graph. All right. So you will notice that as well. So the next video I'm going to talk about when we have two solutions, how it's going to go about, how we're going to solve that. So we've talked about when there's no solutions in the previous video. In this video, we've talked about when there is one solution. And you can see in this case, we only had one solution where it's what? 4 and minus 2. All right? Good. So I'll see you in the next video where we talk about two solutions. Like I said, if you have any question, feel free to drop it. Send me an email and I will get back to you on it. If not, I'll solve more questions from the worksheet and practice. And the only best way to remember all this is to practice. Is that okay? All right. And if you've not subscribed, do subscribe. So when I upload the next video, you'll be the first person to know. All right. So I'm going to see you soon. And please, as usual, don't forget, if you have a question, just send me an email, or if there's a video you want me to talk about on a topic, just send me an email and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much. See you soon.